Hey everyone, Wonton back to bring another One Piece tournament match. This time we're back to the finals, and it's Ace versus Law. He won the high roll, and after a lengthy discussion, he chose not to take a second away from me and chose to go first for himself, which Red and Ace in general does prefer because they do curve out a lot better on first. And this is a matchup I am not super excited to play because I think the Law is not great into Ace just because they have so much removal, they have so much ways of clearing your board and preventing you from using your leader ability to its fullest potential. But we were off to a pretty good start here. We're going to have the double Nami to start, and then we're going to grab a Chopper and a Robin for our future turns. And if you haven't noticed, I am using the Anniversary Edition cards. These are just regular Namis and Choppers. And also the Store Championship Robin. And again, we're going to continue our good start here. He's going to go on to a second turn and still not play anything. He doesn't have any of the searchers, so he's just going to swing 7 into our leader here. And as a general rule, I feel like I should have been just trying to minimize how much damage I take to life from Ace throughout the game. I think I was a little bit too liberal early, but at the same time, I don't want to counter out a 7k swing this early on. So, as I was saying, we were off to a pretty good start because we do have that Robin that we can just develop this turn as well. And he basically skipped his first 2 turns. And so we had a strong start, which leads me to believe that I probably had a pretty good chance of still pulling this out. I probably just fumbled it somewhere along the way. Unfortunately, he did have that Marco on curve, which is one of the linchpins of this deck. And you can see that he swung 5,000 with his leader into my leader. I 100% should have countered that out. I was a little bit greedy with the cards in my hand, and I should have prioritized saving that extra life there. Then we're just going to continue just doing our Law things here. Gonna drop the Bonnie. Gonna pull out that Law. And then we're just going to continue developing our board as we normally would. I've considered just withholding characters just to prevent them from being destroyed, but I don't think that is a correct play here because just not playing any characters is kind of the same as him just KOing them and removing them. And so I feel like the best course of action is to just play as you normally would and just hope he doesn't have the answers in his hand. So again, just going to continue with our normal game plan here. Just going to shambles out Law and bounce back Bonnie to protect her. Just put down another blocker there. Then we're just going to start pressuring him a little bit. Just swinging at life with Robin and Law. And unfortunately, he did have the Otama Fire Fist here, which just allows him to cleanly get rid of our Law and our Robin, which is very unfortunate. And one of the reasons I was so afraid of this matchup, just because I'm not sure there are too many other decks that can just cleanly remove it that easily, like that. He drops the Izzo there, and then he searches out a Sea Quake, which is a very strong card against Zoros and Laws. So that is definitely not something I wanted to see. So again, we're just going to continue doing what we do. We're just going to do Bonnie, grab that Law, and then just start shambling around again. So now we're going to drop the Dan to keep up our hand size and at the same time allow us to use our leader ability. We're going to grab that Nami, just keep up our card advantage. And of course, as you've already seen, we're going to Shambles Outlaw again, bring back the Bonnie, and then we're just going to drop the Nami now. We're going to take the Zoro just because I think we do need a little bit of extra pressure here. He is still quite healthy at 3 life. So he's going to choose to activate the Red Hawk now, not getting the full value out of it after I swing at his Marco, but he just wants to get rid of the blocker there, which I think is a good play. And on turn 7, he's just going to drop that ace on curve and subtract 3,000 power from our Law. And it's going to allow him to just once again cleanly remove that Law off the board here with a Seaquake. And so he's done a really good job this whole game, just slowly clearing out my board and just stopping me from getting any real momentum. Just because at this point I do have to once again think about rebuilding my board. And I'm going to use the Paradise Waterfall there just as another 2,000 counter just to stop the attack here, because there is another attack coming from Ace. I do like to save that for blocker Law, and because I also do run 8 cost Kit in my deck. But at this point I can't hold on to that any longer. There he drops Buggy, and then he's going to search out another Fire Fist, which is just such a strong card in this matchup for him. And so that's another thing we just have to keep in mind. So once again, for the 3rd turn in a row, we're just going to drop Bonnie and hope that we can rebuild our board again. Unfortunately, with Bonnie, we do pick up the wrong Law here. We get Restand Law instead. And that really severely hampers our ability to rebuild our board again this time. So now we're going to drop the Otama here and then subtract 2,000 power from his ace, just so we're able to swing at it multiple times here with our leader and the Dawn if needed, and maybe even the Namis. But he does choose to let it go because he is down to 3 cards in hand, so he is running low on possible counters. And one mistake I do end up doing here is I swing 5,000 into his leader a couple times here with the Dan and Zoro, where I think the correct play should have been to just attach an extra Dawn to each and swing 6k into his Marco and force him to either give up the Marco or use up 2 of the 3 cards left in his hand, which I think is, looking back now, is probably the most optimal play at this point. At the time, I was just afraid that he was sitting at 3 life, and I wanted to get some pressure on him. I wanted to try to force his hand and force lethal next turn. So here I had the option of dropping either 2 Beiges or shambling out the Otama for 1 Beige. And I chose to do the latter just because I know he has a Fire Fist in hand, so he usually just knock out those 2 blockers there. But I'm not 100% sure that he would have another Seaquake, and so I chose to kind of, I guess, hedge my bets and just shambles out one of the Beiges and keep the extra 2,000 counter in my hand in Otama. So first he swings with Marco at 9k, and I do have to counter that with 5k encounters just because I can't go down to 0 life and just have him attach the rest of his Dawn onto Ace and also dump his hand. But he does have the double Makinos here, and so that just clinches his victory anyways. So congratulations to my opponent for winning our locals this week. He played it very well, and I feel like I also probably could have played a little bit better at a few moments of that game. But we'll get him next time. That's it for me, everyone, and thanks for watching. Once again, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.